Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to another Talk Tuesday video. Today I'm feeling a little more upbeat despite some, shall we say, some really heavy news. I live in the United States of America, and as of this point, we are still in the midst of a government shutdown, and I pay out of pocket for my health care. And I have been taking advantage, as I'm sure a ton of other fellow Americans have been, of certain tax breaks in order to help bring down the cost of my premiums. To give you an idea, for all of 2025 thus far, I've been spending about $130 a month for the premiums for healthcare for my husband, myself, and our son, Nate, who is a student. And, well, I got my bill for what will be my premiums for all of 2026 on a monthly basis should the tax credits not be put in place again. Essentially, they are expiring at the end of this year, and so there will be no more tax credits to help offset the cost of the premiums. So I am going from $130 a month to $1,816 a month. Yeah, that's a lot. And I could be panicking. Maybe I should be panicking. Because one of the medications that I take on a daily basis, if I don't have insurance, costs $8,000 a month. And my ability to walk and physically function is directly dependent. I am dependent on that particular medication. So yeah, I could be panicking. I should be panicking. And yet I'm not. If this had happened like 5 years ago even, my head would be in a spin. I would be just completely devastated. I could go on and on and on. But for whatever reason, I'm not. And I'd like to think it's because as I've matured, I'm becoming more like my grandma. God rest her soul. God bless her soul. But she was very much the opinion that, hey, if you can't do anything about it, if it's completely out of your hands and out of your control, then try not to hold on to it, let it go, right? And at this point, there is nothing I can do. I tell you what, I have a little bit of a contingency plan. There are things that I can do that would drastically change the quality of our life. Drastically. I mean, I've already given up all cable TV, all television. We no longer have a television. We do have Prime because I need that for my work. And we do have high-speed internet so I can watch YouTube and things like that because I need that for work as well. But I'm no longer paying for cable television, even though we were on the lowest rung, possible. I was still getting charged extra fees and taxes for like sports channels that I was never even watching to begin with. So we got rid of that, got rid of our landline. We've tightened our belts in terms of grocery spending and discretionary spending. So yeah, I've done all the things, but there's just no way for me to financially swing going from $130 a month to 1,800 and I think it was 16 or something. Anyway, it's a ridiculous amount of money. So yeah, there's that. But again, like I said, I'm trying to let that go, or at least trying not to dwell on it so much that it paralyzes me, right? On the other hand, I have been writing. I have been writing every single day in November, and even if I don't know what I'm going to write, even if I don't have an idea, I sit down and I still write the words. And I've set up a little system. Let me know if you want to see a video on this, but I've set up a little shelf over by my writing desk, my little studio space, and I actually put in a little gem, a little acrylic, looks like a little diamond, iridescent diamond. I put that into a little jar for every 100 words. So when I set my timer for 25 minutes and I write, I'm able to see, oh, I get to put, 2 gems or 3 gems or whatever into the little jar. And I counted out the gems. And once I get to 500 gems, it will signify that I have 50,000 words as soon as that jar is full. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it's certainly keeping me motivated because I'm finding that when the timer goes off after 25 minutes, oh, if I'm only 48 words or whatever shy of the next 100 word roundup, then I'll actually write past my writing sprint in order to just get, the little dopamine hit, the little reward of dropping one more gem into the jar, which is really incentivizing me because this is the first time I am trying my hand and trying my heart and my head at writing adult fiction. And it's interesting because my husband, he likes the horror and the mystery and the suspense. Not me. I'm just into it for, a good, clean adventure, an escape, maybe a little smattering of magic. But I just like an escape. I don't want to say good, clean fun because that can come off as boring. But yeah, that's what it is. And what I realized is right now the TV wasn't safe for me because even when I was watching a show, news could break into that. And right now I got enough crap going on in my head and enough worries. I don't need to feed that worry machine. And so TV, well, it wasn't a safe place for me anymore. Frankly, a lot of stuff online isn't safe because it can break in. And a book, a story, is very much a safe escape because when you escape into a story or a book, you can close out the outside world for a while. And that's what we need to do now more than ever, at least I'm finding personally. In fact, the book that I'm reading now, The Measure, I can't remember the name of the author. I'll leave a link to the book that I'm reading down below in case you're curious, and I'll try and put a picture up on the screen of the cover. I'm loving it, but it's quite intense, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily a happy story. I mean, it's given me all the feels, the sadness, the excitement, that it's making me wonder and think, and all those things are well and good, but I've got all the feels right now living in the reality that we're in, that right now it's just like, oh, I just want an escape. Let me open a book and climb down an escape hatch, even if it's only for 10 minutes, right? So that's the kind of book, or books, shall I say, that I'm going to be working on in the future. And that's my goal, and I'm going to put it right here, accountability, right? That's my goal and my hopes moving into the future. I am wanting to change my life, right? And nothing changes if nothing changes. And I'm realizing now that Nate, my one and only biological son, has, grown up, flown the nest, and is succeeding. That's what you want to do as a parent, do your job, that your kids may want to be around you and want to connect with you, but they don't necessarily need you like they used to anymore. Now that he's gone, I still have Mark, our adopted son. He's an adult. He's 19. He will always need our support, but that can't be my identity. That's not healthy, and I don't want it to be my identity. And I also find that I manage stress. I manage my workload at work, my day job, and I manage the caregiving aspects of Mark better when they get difficult and trying and taxing. I manage both those things better when they're not my singular focus. I need something that's me, that is my identity, that I enjoy, that I want to pour my heart, soul, and creativity and time in. And that is writing. I thought it was nonfiction writing. And that was cathartic for a little bit. The last book that I wrote, Common Things, Core Truths, that's still available available on Amazon. Shameless plug. Link in the description below. That's a book about life insights and using everyday objects that you see and using them as a visual reminder and object lesson for specific tangible ways you can make your life better, because that's how I've made my life better over the years. That's how I've helped myself in concrete ways. However, I don't want to do that long term. No. Instead, I think I want to create for others what I'm desperately seeking and what I desperately need, and that is escape and fun adventure and respite for the mind and salve for the heart, right? Not a romance, not at all, but adventure, thought-provoking, happy, but realistic. That's where I'm at. And I'm enjoying that process. I'm scared. I'm going to be honest with you. because it's hard to make any kind of substantial living as a self-published author. And I have been traditionally published, personal finance. I've talked about that here on this channel before, but I don't really want to go down that route. You lose creative freedom, you lose ownership, and you hand off the rights to make certain creative choices. And I enjoy that, so I don't want to give that up. On the other hand, you don't get any kind of advance. And so it's, I could do all of this for naught. I could pour all my heart and soul into a book and typeset it and do all the things and not make a dime on it. But one, I'm really enjoying it. So there's, immeasurable value in that respect. On the other hand, I do worry, am I wasting my time? My husband is still unemployed, with the economy being the way it is, and with my new healthcare premiums being what they are or going to be. Do I really have the luxury to pour time and effort and invest in something that I just enjoy and that may or may not work? Well, you know what? I'm just going to do it, and we're going to see how it's going to go. So stay tuned if you want to follow along. And if my kind of books or stories are something that you'd like to read, I encourage you to join my, email list. You can do that at my website, shannonmedisky.com. And through that email list, that email newsletter, I'll be sharing release dates. And I'm sure I'll be talking about it here as well. But something that I wanted to ask all of you, if you have watched, we're a little over 10 minutes into this video. If you watch my channel and you subscribe, if you would enjoy hearing me read a chapter or two, or maybe even some of this book, Common Things, Core Truths, let me know in the comments below, because I really enjoy reading out loud. And I would love to give you all a taste of both my nonfiction and my fiction writing, if that's something that would appeal to you, that you would enjoy. But I don't want to do that if it's just going to be a video that you're just, not even interested in. I don't want to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste my time, because, boy, doesn't it seem like there's never enough time for any of us? I told my husband today, if only there were another 3, 4, 5 hours in the day. But it seems with all the sleep I'm losing due to menopause, I should be able to find those hours. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So yeah, it's weird. I am living in this state of, oh my goodness, I should be panicking about my healthcare premiums. Oh my goodness, is it really smart for me to be pouring all this time, energy, and effort into writing fiction when it may or may not ever pay off? But I am finding that it is paying off in very intangible ways, because it's just making me happier. I can already tell right now that I feel like a completely different person that I did just 3 weeks ago. And the only real change I can think of is because I am prioritizing that writing time. Come hell or high water, no matter what happens in the day, I know that I will sit down for a minimum of a 25-minute block of time to write. And I'm finding that even when I sit down to write, if I don't know exactly what I'm going to work on in that time period, it plays out like a movie inside my head. And writing, the experience of it is like respite and a relief and an escape for me. So I'm really excited. I'm loving the characters that I get to visit with when I sit down and write. And so let me know in the comments below if you want to learn more about that. I will say the end of the year is always a busy time of year for me. So I'm going to be dialing down. I think I mentioned this before as well. I'm going to be dialing down to maybe 1 or 2 videos a week, just because, there's just so much on my plate. There is so much on my plate. Mark's annual assessment with his social worker for the state happened this past week. And on one hand, it's great because my house is sparkling now, because they have to come in here and they inspect Mark's room. They look around. It takes hours. That's done. And it went fine. I love the social worker. Boy, it seemed like for years we were getting a new social worker every single year, which was taxing. Not really for me, but for Mark. It takes him, he has a lot. He's neurodivergent. And so it can be difficult for him to share and open up. And not only, just open up, but just to communicate and understand somebody else, somebody different. So it's nice that we have an established relationship with this social worker now. But so that was this week, and I'm grateful it's over, and I'm even more grateful that the house is just beautiful and pristine now, because that means this weekend I don't have to do housework. I can focus on my writing. But it seems like stuff is always coming up. Once you get something done, something else just comes in and swoops and takes its place, right? So yeah, there's that. I've got just a lot of things to tie up before the end of the year. But I certainly will be here at least on a weekly basis, hopefully twice a week. But yeah, so that's it for now. And I am just so hoping that this joy that I'm feeling continues on, because I'm starting to get pretty busy at work again, and yeah, that's threatening my happiness too. Which, you know what, one more thing, I've been talking to Jason that he's really struggling. He's struggling now too. We both, well, I'm gonna be frank, he's 50 and I am turning 50 in December, and ageism is real. And not only is there an employment struggle, the economy is crap. If you don't have a job or you've lost your job, it's difficult to find a job. But when you're, 50 plus, it's that much harder. And so, he's struggling with that. And so I talked to him and I said, you know what? I think what we both need to do is we need to establish a routine. We need to establish a schedule so that no matter how we're feeling, we can fall back on that. That when things get busy and crazy, we have built-in things that we can look forward to, that we keep and take just as seriously as any other appointment or meeting. And when we do get crazy busy with other things, other stuff that, undoubtedly will pop up, we still have, scheduled time for the other aspects of our life that are important and need and are deserving of our time and effort too. Because for me, I told him, oftentimes it takes effort, but I have to act differently than how I feel. Yeah, sometimes I have really down days. Thank you, hormone fluctuations. And all I want to do is, binge videos on YouTube. Hey, binge my channel if you're right there with me. But that isn't always productive. It is. In some instances, when I'm feeling low, there are certain YouTube channels that I go to for inspiration, for that just, gust of energy and that motivational push that I need to get me, moving again. But if I'm just binge watching an old show, that ain't great. It may help me feel better in the short term, but the very next day I'm usually kicking myself for not having actually gotten stuff done, because you know what? 1% beats 0%. 100% of the time. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to spend some time. We're going to have a come to Jesus meeting, Jason and I, and maybe work together to create a schedule, because I think it would benefit him, and I know it would benefit me. And how do you fit all the stuff in unless you plan it, right? You certainly don't want to leave it to chance. So, yeah, there you have it. That's what I'm going to be working on this weekend and hopefully next week. If you've watched to the end of this video, thank you so much. And I will catch you next time. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.